Okay, so the title is a tad misleading as Cedar Fair and Six Flags haven't officially merged yet, but you get the point. Six Flags or Cedar Flags or Cedar Fair Flags, whatever, is definitely going to invest more in King's Dominion as we are seeing with this finally long anticipated volcano replacement. It won't come as a surprise to anyone, but Kings Dominion is going to be receiving a B&M Wing Coaster in 2025, a launched B&M Wing Coaster that is. Now, if you've been following this channel or other channels or just in the coaster industry in general, you pretty much knew this was going to be happening, that they were going to be receiving some sort of wing coaster. There were plans leaked earlier on that depicted a much smaller B&M wing coaster, but this new one is definitely a lot better. We have an unofficial layout guess from the leak from kdfans.com. I highly encourage everyone to visit that website to read the awesome article there. That's where I'm getting all the information for this video from. This B&M Wing Coaster is a standard B&M launch coaster, something along the lines of Thunderbird. It's pretty exciting. It's going to have multiple inversions, a launch, and plenty of awesome hang time, and maybe even a bit of airtime, who knows. The ride itself will swoop all over pre-existing rides, including their Scrambler and the bobsled ride, so it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to definitely improve the Jungle Expedition area, which is already pretty cool in itself. If you want to see a full POV of the ride, you can check the link in the description, or just keep watching this video as it will be playing sporadically. Basically, if I can sum up this entire coaster in one word, it's going to be expect an awesome B&M launched wing coaster coming to King's Dominion that's definitely going to revive the park a bit. Okay, fine, that wasn't one word, but you get the point. Okay, now for the fun part of the video, we are going to be talking about the lasting implications that this mystery B&M wing coaster is going to have on King's Dominion and beyond. The first point I'd like to make is something I like to call major investment. This is a giant investment that Cedar Fair Flags is investing into the park. As some of the longtime Coaster Josh fans may know, my most popular video on this channel is one effectively bashing King's Dominion, which used to be my home park, so I'm allowed to say it. Basically, in that video, I talked about the long-term decline of King's Dominion, how it used to be this amazing park, and it was just steadily going downhill since the addition of Intimidator 305. I talked about all the rides that were removed and the giant decrease in quality. In that video, I had three major complaints. They were as follows. Number one, the park needs to improve park atmosphere in terms of theming and themed rides. Secondly, the park needs to receive substantial investment and replace some of the rides that they removed. And thirdly, they need to effectively compete with Busch Gardens Williamsburg in terms of additions and season pass pricing and all that jazz. Now that video was made a while ago, but it's kind of safe to say that they've improved a lot of the things since I made that video. Since then, they opened up Jungle Expedition, which is a quality retheme to an area that definitely needs it. And now we are hearing that they are finally going to replace Volcano. Those two things together show that the park has definitely been listening to guest feedback. And no, I'm not suggesting they watched a video made by a high school student at the time. I'm suggesting that they listened to guest feedback in terms of focus groups and surveys and just overall guest comments at the park. Now, these improvements were probably being planned on for a long time, maybe like 3, 4, or maybe even 5 years, but it just shows that they are listening to guest feedback because Kings Dominion was in decline for a long time, and now they're definitely trying to get out of it. So, is this wing coaster going to put Kings Dominion on the map again with an awesome new ride that's going to draw so many people to the park? Well, probably. Tumbili wasn't the greatest in drawing in new crowds or the Jungle Expedition in general, especially from the time frame that it was added. But a major B&M wing coaster will definitely do wonders for the park, and especially competing with Busch Gardens Williamsburg, who hasn't added a showstopper lately, it's going to be pretty cool. If this ride does well, it's safe to say that we will see more substantial investment like the wing coaster come to the park. Now, that's a standard prediction in regards to whatever ride any park is adding. I mean, Dorney Park, it's definitely going to be playing there, but I can definitely see Kings Dominion ramping up their additions in the future if this volcano replacement does well. I'm very excited for it. The layout of the coaster looks good enough to draw in a lot of people and be one of the people's favorites at the park. I am very, very excited to go out and ride it when it opens. I think the Cedar Fair Six Flags merger is going to have really good implications for King's Dominion. With one season pass, you probably will be able to visit all of the Six Flags slash Cedar Fair properties. Now, I think that's going to draw a lot of people to Six Flags King's Dominion or Cedar, whatever. They're going to draw a lot of new people that have not been to the park there because a lot of people have season passes to Six Flags. Now, I just think the name recognition also is going to draw a lot of people to the park out of curiosity. A lot of people are going to know that King's Dominion was bought out by Six Flags, or at the very least, they changed the name. That it's going to draw a lot of the locals back into the park that have maybe given up on it. It's going to be pretty cool to see. And like I mentioned earlier, this ride is going to compete with Busch Gardens Williamsburg in a very nice way. They don't have a wing coaster. In fact, the nearest wing coaster is in Dollywood, which isn't close. And also, this ride is going to have a little bit of a pre-show and a little pre-themed ride section, which is going to be very cool to see. Busch Gardens Williamsburg has been lacking a lot in the theming, so if King's Dominion can kind of steal the theming away, it would be pretty awesome to see these parks have a theming battle. Now, that's not really going to happen because SeaWorld doesn't theme their rides anymore, but you get the point. And I've mentioned it again and again, but if this succeeds, it's going to mean great things for the park. They're going to start improving other areas. Maybe they'll remove Anaconda, put something over the water. They'll start making everything a little more cohesive. They'll probably retheme Backlot Stunt Coaster and maybe fix the little area by Flight of Fear because, it doesn't really fit with a NASCAR ride and then Aliens and then the movie sets and then the safari right by, it doesn't really fit. So maybe they'll just make the whole park a bit more cohesive. So we'll see how this ride actually turns out, but right now I'd give them an E for effort. That they're doing pretty good. They've definitely improved other things like the food around the park, so now we just need a couple more things to make it just really good. And I do think this Six Flags buyout thing is going to be good for King's Dominion, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I want to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts about this B&M launched wing coaster coming to the park? Do you think it's going to be a good ride, a good fit, and what do you think the ride experience will be like? And as a bonus, can you try to guess the name and or color of the ride? When the ride is finally announced, I will come back and pick the winning comment if you got it right and show it off. So yeah, this is the Coaster Josh signing out, and thank you all so much for watching.